Welcome back to the podcast, Mike. Went
Good to be
MIA
back,
on us
man.
last week.
Good to be back.
Heck yeah,
I,
well,
I,
man.
I had to miss that one too. That would have been one I would have loved to have said some stuff. But good to be back, man. You took care of it and you did well. So,
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, welcome back, dude. I'm telling you, man, it was odd, strange, and actually, I felt like it was difficult running the show by myself. But you're back, man. We're back.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
Hopefully, Tennessee's back this weekend. This game that Tennessee is getting ready to play in for both teams is actually an elimination game, more or less, a playoff elimination game. Who can make the playoffs? Who will continue to fight for a spot in that 12-team playoff? Dude, whoever goes down in this one, man, is taking that unfortunate third loss. And I think it's pretty clear that, with all the teams that are finding success so far this season, and as good as teams are looking, I think without question, you're not going to see a three-loss team in the playoffs whatsoever this year.
yeah, I agree, man. I don't think that there is going to be a three-loss team there. I mean, obviously, you never know college football and how crazy it is. Something could happen, but at this point in the time of the season, just looking at it, I don't think there will be either.
Right.
I already said for Tennessee, the playoffs started last week. When they played Kentucky, so. Um, It's the same this week for them, just going into it. Playoffs are still rolling. Obviously this is a big game. Oklahoma coming to town. It's a big game for Heupel. It always seems to be now, and it's going to be a big game in playoff implication. I think this year, man. Like you said, I'm not saying that either one of these teams automatically going to be in because they win this game, but this game is necessary for each team to have a chance to keep on rolling because I don't think that third loss is going to get you in this year. Um,
Right.
so massive game coming up for
Yep.
Tennessee, man.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's fair to say whoever loses this is not going to the playoffs. That's my take on it.
Yep.
Yeah. So you've got Oklahoma sitting there at number 18. They haven't really looked all that great recently, especially with I think since the John Mateer injury, you've kind of seen a steady decline in the entire team as a whole. Both teams are 6-2 though. Oklahoma's 2-2 in the SEC. Tennessee's 3-2 in the SEC. So both of them are kind of struggling in conference play. It seems like. Uh,
Yep.
Overall, just overall vibes, and obviously we're going to dive into it, but just first initial feelings and gut feelings on this one. I do feel like Tennessee can come away with this win. I think Tennessee has what it takes to come away with a win in a game like this. But aside from all that, we will dive into this game. Is there anything to you, man, that kind of sticks out about Oklahoma that you're somewhat concerned about, or anything like that?
No, I mean obviously, man. With John Mateer and his ability that he has shown at times. I know the injury I think's kind of slowed him down and really kind of changed things. But if we do know what he's capable of, and know that, and with Tennessee secondary, that's obviously a concern going into this game.
Yep.
Some positive things that she's talking about, just the feel of things in Tennessee being able to be able to get this done. Obviously a 7:30 night game in Neyland is always going to be on Tennessee's side, right? And I think that's always a big thing. Apple, we always play well when we are at home. A lot of positives in that aspect, just in general. That's not everything, and it doesn't always mean everything. But we do know that in Neyland, especially night games at home, dark mode. I mean, a lot of things that Tennessee finds success in. So definitely looking forward to that. And I'm really glad that we got this is a good game to have that atmosphere for our remaining games in the season. So um, I do think we got some positives there, some things on our side when it comes to that. As far as the outside of the game type atmosphere is definitely going to be in Tennessee's favor. Um, Again, things can go either way when you're playing. You got to get it done on the football field, but that's just some things. Just pointing at it without breaking the game down. Just some things that I'm glad that Tennessee has on their side. I'm glad it's not at Oklahoma at night, things like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, there was a point in the season where I would have felt when we say well, I feel like when we talk about like Tennessee getting it done, we're obviously worried about this game. It's not this is by no means a guaranteed win for Tennessee at all. This is going to be a very tough game. Um, but there was a point in time right before John Mateer's injury, when he was playing the way he was playing, and that defense was honestly, it's like they were playing better. They've let up some more points against like Ole Miss, and seeing them kind of let up a little bit more. Texas scoring some on them, that makes me feel more confident Tennessee can be able to score on them
Yep.
for more so what they need to, because our defense does give up points. And with John Mateer playing the way he was earlier, it kind of like made me worried that this game would be, not a good game for Tennessee at all. So it's kind of looked a little bit more in that favor, where Oklahoma's defense has been giving up a little bit, and their offense hasn't been clicking. Um, and getting the pressure on John Mateer, I think, will hopefully create some good defensive things, because we do as many as bad as our secondary is, and as much as we give up, we do always create these random turnovers, get sacks. So we have a really good side to our defense that sometimes can create a little chaos sometimes. And as long as our offense is scoring that, we get one or two turnovers in a game, you get a defensive touchdown in a game, that's
Oh yeah.
big,
Oh yeah.
because if our offense is clicking like they should, then that really goes in favor of Tennessee.
Yeah. Oh, you're exactly right, man. I mean, I literally have in my notes, what version of John Mateer does Tennessee get? You
Yeah.
know, what version of that guy that we know has the ability
Hmm.
without a doubt. But what version of him shows up? I mean, is he fully 100%? I really don't know. I mean, the stats would probably say that he's not. If you look at pre-surgery, post-surgery stats, I mean, they're drastically different. I mean, he
Yeah.
was borderline Heisman campaign, Heisman favorite level statistics before the surgery. So, but with all that being said, taking a look at, I do have a few like I guess ratings or whatever you want to call it. As far as Oklahoma's offense, they're only averaging 130 yards on the ground, so 130 rushing yards ish on the ground, and that's the bottom half of the SEC. And I feel like you were saying, Tennessee's defense, if they do have one strong suit, it is kind of getting that pressure up front and putting themselves in a good position to at least try to stop the run. We do unfortunately suffer with missing tackles, man. I don't know
Yeah.
the statistics on that, but Tennessee misses a lot of tackles. Like, people get a lot of
Yeah.
secondary, yards after the first hit, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Teams get a lot of those yards on us. But yeah, Oklahoma's bottom half of the SEC in rushing, and they're about the middle of the pack in passing as far as that goes. Now, on the flip side of that, their defense, you mentioned it earlier, that Oklahoma's defense actually does look good. Oklahoma's defense is number one in the SEC in points allowed. That's
Hmm.
12.5 points a game. They're number one in yards allowed, 240 per game. And they're number two in sacks total in the SEC. So, I mean, those right there, those kind of defensive accolades, I guess you could say, or rankings or whatever, those speak for themselves, man. I mean, that we are going to be going up against a tough defense, and
For sure. Yeah.
I don't think there's any question on that. But luckily, Tennessee's offense is number two in scoring in the entire nation, not just the SEC, but the
Yeah.
entire nation. And we lead the SEC in passing yards. So I mean, I think you're going to see a really good defense, or better than average defense going up against close to, if not almost elite level offense. I mean, we have our flaws, so I think that's what you're going to see on Tennessee's offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
When Oklahoma has the ball, you're going to see a mediocre, maybe even bottom level offense versus Tennessee's middle of the
Mediocre
pack.
bot.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
the game has its advantages for both
Yeah.
teams, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, and yeah, and I would even say bottom level secondary of that defense. So
Oh, bottom.
that's for sure the bottom. But and yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like you said, what shows up. The one
Yeah.
thing I think that's as good as their Oklahoma's defense is, Ole Miss and Texas again, like I said, they've kind of showed that if you can score on them, so it is possible. It's
Yeah.
not that they're impossible to score on, especially when their offense isn't doing well or something. It's just one of those things, though, that I don't think they're a team you want to get in a shootout with, and let their offense start clicking,
Right.
because
Yep.
that's a tough defense to do that back to consistently. Not saying that
Yes.
Tennessee's going to have big plays against them. It's going to happen, and they're going to score some points. But at the same time, you don't want Oklahoma's offense to get rolling. I just hope that the secondary that showed up, like I said, I know we beat Kentucky big, but that secondary could not let Oklahoma's quarterback throw 5 touchdowns and like we let Kentucky do. I mean, made a terrible team look a lot better than they were on offensively. Now, don't get me wrong, that team showed up some. I didn't get to really talk about Kentucky much. But if you want to know what Kentucky football is in a nutshell, that one play where nobody could hold on to the football and it ended up being 30 yards back, that's Kentucky football. But we can't play that way, defensively
Right.
against
Right.
Oklahoma. Is what I'm really kind of getting at, because this is a much better team.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad Tennessee in that second half really kind of stepped up and took care of Kentucky. That at the same time, we gotta lock it up a little bit better on defense for this one.
Yep.
Facing a much better quarterback, a much better team in general. So
Yeah. I think something, I don't know if you looked at it, but I was scrolling somewhere earlier today and I saw the injury report for both teams, Oklahoma and
mhm,
Tennessee. Dude, Oklahoma has, let me see, I wrote it down. Oklahoma has 5 offensive linemen on the injury report. Three
man,
of them, three of them are without question not playing. They're out.
yeah,
I think one of them's questionable and one of them is probable or whatever
yeah,
terminology they use. But regardless, dude, 5 offensive linemen. I
yeah.
mean,
That's tough, man.
you would, out of the 5 offensive linemen, you'd think at least 3 of them are day one starters. At least 2 or 3 have to be. The rest of them could be secondary guys or whatever, but 5 offensive linemen are appearing on their injury report.
Yeah,
I think that's something without question that Tennessee can capitalize on, man.
for sure, man. When you got an offensive line that hurt, you got to go after the guys that are going to be starting on Saturday for sure. And, that's one thing about Tennessee, man. I know our offensive line, we may get a lot of false starts and some holding penalties here and there, but
Yeah,
overall, that offensive line protects Joey pretty well most of the
they do.
time.
They do.
And they do create gaps for the run game too. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I got to give them that. So hopefully against a defense like this, they really step up and show what kind of offensive line they can be. But yeah,
Yeah.
you got to take advantage of a team that's injured,
I
man.
I
That's
couldn't
for
believe
sure.
it. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Um, and then on the flip side of that, of course, when it comes to Tennessee's injury report, man, you've still got Jermod McCoy. He's still out. Ricky Gibson the third, he's still out, and those 2 guys being out as long as they've been out. Of course, Jamad McCoy hasn't seen the field, but those 2 guys being out, man, I think that's a big reason why you're seeing Tennessee secondary struggle so much. I mean, two
Yeah.
guys obviously aren't going to turn the entire thing around, but those 2 guys back there would
Mhm.
make one heck of a difference, without question.
Two guys in a system where your weakest point being your secondary. Um, what you
Yeah,
got four? You got two cornerbacks, two safeties at the most. So two guys in that right there, man. I mean, that's half of it. So I mean,
yeah,
that's big for that. I know people think like two guys might not make two guys makes a big difference when it's two guys in your secondary like that. And that's where your weakest points are. And just to add, I was just looking it up to make sure. I'd heard some like I was going to send it to you actually. I think it was yesterday. There was a little bit about Colton Hood with an injury last week, but he is not on the injury report and he will be playing. It looks like
good.
on
That's
3
awesome.
days, not on the injury report. There's
Good
that was worrying me because I was like, with he is one of our better ones, and if we don't have him, then we don't have a secondary man.
at
Drew
all.
Carter's back there by himself at that point, I guess. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. It looks like he will be playing. So
Yeah, he's going to be needed in this one for sure, man. Um, I do have, so I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm just going to tell you my personal biggest fear about this game.
mhm.
And my biggest fear is Tennessee battle tested enough to come out with a win in this one? Now, I understand nighttime at Neyland, dark mode, all that stuff. I mean, Oklahoma's going to be playing against not just the guys on the field, but they're going to be playing against 101,000 psychotic Tennessee fans at night that's probably been
Yeah,
drinking all day and et cetera. But so I'm not really worried about that aspect of the game because you made it clear and it's obvious. I mean, everyone knows that it's a very tough environment for anybody to come
Yeah.
in at night and play. But what I mean by is Tennessee battle tested, and this is what I texted you about earlier today that I had a fun fact for the episode. And it just really kind of puts it into perspective of how weak Tennessee's schedule has been to this point. So this is the list of teams and their records that Tennessee has beaten this year. They beat a 3-5 Syracuse, a 4-5 ETSU, a 3-4 UAB, a 4-4 Mississippi State, a 2-6 Arkansas, and a 2-5 Kentucky. Not one single team that we've beat this year has a winning record. The three out of conference teams that we played aren't even good in their conference. They're actually bottom of the barrel in their own conferences, pretty much.
Yeah.
The three SEC schools that we've played all have losing records. Arkansas and Kentucky have combined 4 wins, and we're in week 10.
Yeah.
Um, so the combined win total for all the teams that we've beat this season is 18-29.
Yeah.
Now, to me, and you can make of it what you want. You know, anybody can take this and twist it however they want. But to me, that's a little bit concerning. You haven't really, as close as the Georgia game was, and certain moments in the Alabama game, we could have turned it around or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, we're sitting here with 2 losses, and those 2 losses come against the only 2 good teams that you've played all year. And I just personally think that that's pretty concerning moving forward. And it just kind of makes me nervous about who Tennessee really is to this point.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. The only thing you can hope is that out of those losses, that those are some battle scars that kind of test them a little bit for it, and
Right.
make them kind of be resilient. When teams are backed into a corner, you get to see what you're made of. So that's the only thing I can kind of hope in that aspect. It is concerning that, if again, no loss is a good loss. The Georgia loss obviously kind of made me think Tennessee though was more competitive than what people would have thought based
Right.
on the we've had an easy schedule so far minus the Georgia and Bama games, and those are the two we lost. Bama, it was a frustrating game, and that kind of made me rethink about how Tennessee is going to be this year. Um, as fans, you all got to be positive and want to hope that they're going to show up and I'm going to take it week to week. I don't even think I'm really going to think much into like how I feel like it's going to end up happening. I mean we know kind of I think what we think is going to happen this year for the most part. I think we also made our predictions before the year even started. Kind of where we think we're going to be at.
Yep.
Interesting enough, we're actually been right about Tennessee all the way, every
Yep.
up to this point in the season. We've
Yep.
predicted the wins and the losses before the season even started. We've been wrong at times, but I know I predicted them to beat Bama in that moment and everything. But I'm talking about our preseason prediction of Tennessee has been right so far.
Yep.
Hopefully, this is one of those games that it continues to be right because we did predict them to win this game. So,
Yeah.
and preseasons so far, our preseason's been pretty good, man.
Oh yeah.
I hope you know, you can't always go by preseason. I just like that we've been correct so far about their schedule.
Yep.
Um, and it probably goes from, being able to kind of put being a fan to the side a little bit too sometimes, but and obviously you let emotion kind of run into it. But from watching Tennessee and knowing how Tennessee is, and I think that's something that we pay attention to a lot, and I think that's been
Yep.
showing on how our preseason ranking was.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I get what you're saying, man. It's just one of those games going to test them, though. I mean, so it's now time to see. All right, here's your if you don't win this game, you know, like I said, you're not getting the playoffs. But it also kind of goes to show are going to be any good teams this year. Um,
Yeah.
is because obviously we got so well, Florida's in the swamp. That's not going to be an easy game for us. But on, paper, Florida's not good. Losing record team. And then we got Vandy at the end of the year. And that's going to be a tough one. And it's kind of like if we don't win this game, it does make you think is Tennessee even going to beat a team with a winning record this year?
Yeah. Yeah. You're right, man. I think and you mentioned it, coming away with battle scars. How does Tennessee come into a game like this, knowing what's on the line, knowing what's at stake? I mean, how do they perform? What did they learn from those 2 big time losses? Um, And I'm not going to sit here and act like I think Tennessee's going to lose this game. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm looking at it
Yeah.
from both sides of the coin. I'm looking at the possibility of winning, and I'm looking at what you're truly going up against.
Yep.
Um, but Vegas has Tennessee as a 2.5 point favorite. If I were to bet on this game, I would definitely take Tennessee to cover the spread. I mean, I'm rooting for Tennessee in this one. Obviously, I think Tennessee
Mhm.
is going to come away with the win. And like you said, being at night in Neyland Stadium, I mean, that just gives Tennessee a huge advantage, a huge advantage.
Yeah.
I'd say the Tennessee wins by 10 plus in this one personally.
Nice. Yeah. Um,
I know that's a little
yeah.
unexpected in that
Yeah. I
moment, but
definitely thought it'd be closer,
I
but
felt it. I felt it.
yeah, got to go with your gut, man. And I do think Tennessee's going to win this game. I think it's been a little closer than that. Maybe I could even see a 3 point game top ordeal.
Yep,
I predict Tennessee to win a close one. Um,
it's
I
fair.
won't touch on the bets when it comes to Tennessee. As you know, I don't bet on Tennessee sports, is my number one rule, and I don't comment on the bets for Tennessee. So I think that's a rule I've stuck by for several years. I would
I
like
will
five
say
or
they'll
six
let you
years.
down. I will say they'll let you down.
Yeah. I've actually bet on Tennessee to lose a game by this is way back. This is when I stopped. It was when they were bad, and it was
Yeah.
Florida to cover the spread. Tennessee scored a garbage time touchdown that actually covered the spread, but they still lost the games. After that, I was like, no. And they say not to bet on your favorite team, anyways.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
true.
that's what I get Tennessee fans because I am a Tennessee fan and I bet against them. I bet on the cover or Florida. Well, I did bet on Florida to cover the spread. That's my bad right there. But I I do think this is going to be a close game. That Tennessee does win. So that's both of us got Tennessee this week.
Yeah, and I don't think we mentioned it before we started that segment,
Oh,
but
yeah,
this we do say that this game is the fourth and whatever podcast game of the week.
yeah,
Just kind of looking up and down the slate that there is this weekend. There are other big games, and we're getting ready to dive into those. But with what's at stake in this one, the loser of this one, like we said, is not going to the playoffs unless just
yeah,
something ridiculous happens. So I think there's a lot on the line in this game. So that's why
for
I think
sure.
you and I both agreed that this is game of
Yeah,
the week level for the fourth and whatever podcast
absolutely.
for sure.
And there's not a
Um,
lot of big ranked games this week, so
no,
which is interesting. So yeah,
yeah. So unless you've got anything else on it, man, I say we can move on. Unless you want to
yeah.
bring up anything else.
Hey, go balls, man. I feel good. So
Yep. Go balls for sure. Yeah. So moving on to our notable games of the week, we've got what we got four that we're gonna kind of briefly run through real quick.
yeah,
Let
yeah.
me go ahead and start. Go ahead, man.
I was you probably were going to start with the one I was going to. Go right ahead.
Were you starting with number 9 Vandy versus number 20 Texas?
I was because
Okay.
I think that's the one we would have. That would be the second one to have as game of the week if you were going to have one.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so there you have it. Number 9 Vandy goes on the road to play number 20 Texas. Now Texas has a lot of stake in this game, man. I mean, you're going up against a red hot team in Vanderbilt that so many people have been surprised by so far this season.
yeah, man.
They're looking good. Diego Pavia is running that job, but he's backing it up.
Yeah.
Um, I'll be honest with you, man. I didn't think I would ever say this before the season started, but I've gained a little respect for Diego Pavia. I mean, he's kind of outside the norm of how you think a quarterback should act and carry himself and all that. And there's something in me
Yeah.
that kind of likes that, to be honest with you. I don't know why. It's just something out of the norm that you don't see. But yeah, Andy on the road against Texas, man. Texas is a 2.5 point favorite. How you feel about it, bro?
Well, it is. It's gonna be honestly interesting, man. And like predicting wise, it's kind of hard for me on this one. It is
Uh,
in Texas. Um, Seen what Oklahoma, what happened, they went to Texas. Texas is just so tough to see how they're going to be this year, man. They just had a lot of low points, and then they play in close games all the time. I mean, they went to overtime with Kentucky, which is terrible.
Insanity.
Yeah, terrible. Um, and then winning, Mississippi State blew a lead in the fourth quarter, man. A complete meltdown, really. Let's face it, that was a complete melt. But kudos to Texas; they made the plays they needed to get back into that game, and
Yep.
overtime they had all the momentum. And Arch Manning has kind of been able to, like, I think still kind of he's calmed down a little bit. He's got himself, to where he was looking really bad at the first of the year. So he's got himself to where he's playing some decent football, I think, overall now. Kind of settling in his zone there a little bit. So I do think this is going to be a tough game. I don't think by any means like Vanderbilt's going to come in and run away with this game or anything. And I do think Texas is going to put up a tough battle. But man, I don't know. I just think Texas hasn't been playing good enough at this point of the year compared to how Vandy's been playing. Vandy's only loss was at Alabama. Um, and I think Vandy's going to come into Texas and win a game. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't have a score or nothing, but I think Vandy's going to come in and get it done and beat Texas and put them out of the playoff race this year.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go, man. That's big time. I mean, so many
Yeah.
people before the season started really were predicting Texas to win the SEC and go to the
Yeah.
Natty and arch for Heisman and all that stuff. We've seen quite the opposite so far
Yeah.
this year. Now it almost feels like Texas already has a worse record than 6-2. It doesn't feel like they're 6-2,
Yeah.
to be honest. It really don't. It kind of. I mean, sitting here looking at their literal record on my screen, it just does not feel like they're 6-2.
Yep.
Um, I think as far as who has the edge in this one or whatever the case is, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that really about the only thing Texas has going for them that this is a home game. Uh, I don't think that they
Yep.
really have all that much momentum coming into this one.
Yep.
I think Vanderbilt is just riding that wave, and really they're just coming out every week and saying beat us, try to beat us. Who's
Yep.
who's gonna beat Vanderbilt? I mean, I don't know, and I feel like I have to kind of lean with what you said, man. I really do feel like Vanderbilt's going to come into Texas and get a
Yep.
dub. I really do, because I mean, just both teams' trajectories, man. I mean, Vanderbilt. I mean, you see teams go on highs and runs and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and eventually they have to come down. But I don't think that Texas is good enough to be that team that causes them to go down. I really don't. They have not
No.
been consistent enough all season. They've had their moments where they've shined a little bit here and there, but I just
Yeah.
think Texas falls short this year. I really, really do.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, so I take Vandy in that one. Continuing to shock the world.
Yep.
But at a
Absolutely.
certain point, I guess at a certain point, dude, we got to quit saying we're shocked by it. I mean, we just have to accept it at a certain point.
Yeah, just accept they're good, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's why I like to say that's why I got them beating Texas at Texas. So
100%,
yeah,
100%. I think we're living in a world where Vandy could potentially run the rest of their schedule. I don't know. I mean, who
yeah,
knows? Um, So kind of stepping outside the SEC, we always do this. We like to do this. Sometimes it is kind of difficult to do, where we don't follow any other conference really as closely.
yeah,
But this is a big time matchup. You got two ranked teams, number 17 Cincinnati versus number 24 Utah. Kind of odd, man. I looked at it, and even though Utah's number 24 in the nation, they're a 10.5 point favorite in this one. I thought
interesting.
that was kind of odd.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't have too much on this game other than I'm taking Cincinnati.
nice, dude. Taking Cincinnati. Hey, and I'm like you. I don't have a whole lot on this game either.
Yep.
But I am going. Before you even said the spread difference, I already knew who I was going to take. I'm going to take Utah in
There
this
you
one,
go.
man. If was it, I feel like was it Utah that played Colorado this past weekend that beat them so bad? Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know for
I'll have to
certain.
look. I know I'd have to look to make sure, but because yes, Utah beat Colorado 53-7. It was like 45 to nothing at like halftime or something. I
Gotcha.
just caught a glimpse of that one, but and not that Colorado's the team to judge that on. I just for some reason I just
Right.
think Utah is going to win this game, so I'm gonna agree with that spread and um, say that Utah is going to win it.
I mean, Cincinnati beat Baylor 41-20 last week.
Yeah. So both teams, I guess, are on a
Who
hot
knows?
streak. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we don't watch enough of that conference as to really know, but I feel like it's important to say, when it's a two ranked teams like that, in a
100%.
week like this, and there, there's going to be fans of both those teams. This is no disrespect to them at all. It's just not in the conference we follow as closely, but yeah, I like that. We got a split though. Still, we still got a difference. I like when we have a little bit of a difference.
Me too. I like
It's
I like
it's
seeing
like a
who comes out on
competition.
top.
Yeah. So. We got
I'm just keeping it East Coast on mine. We're gonna stay
that
over here on the
works.
East Coast with Cincinnati.
That works.
Uh, okay, so moving on. This game is a game that before the season started could have been game of the week level. It
Yep.
could have been. It could have been. I mean, realistically, who knows? Could have been game of the year level. I don't know, but all
No.
I know is it doesn't have as much fire and it doesn't have as much juice as it did preseason. You've got an unranked Penn State who, realistically, man, everyone had high hopes for.
Oh
Since
yeah.
then they've dropped the ball. They've looked terrible. They fired their coach. They've been in shambles. I mean, just really kind of shocking, honestly. I mean,
Yep.
even though Penn State really never rises to the occasion in big time games and all that, you would still think that they would have had a better season than they've had at this point. And I
Yep.
don't think anyone would have predicted that their coach would be fired midway through the season. But here we are. Penn State goes on the road to face number one Ohio State. Like I said, this game had so much potential preseason, but that really has nothing for me now, or very many people. I wouldn't imagine there's going to be too many
No.
people saying Penn State's got a chance in this one. What do you think?
No, man. Ohio State's going to win by 21 or more. Maybe it's not going to be close. And maybe not or more, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them win by 21 points, and I just think Ohio State's going to easily win it since at Ohio State, there's just nothing that shows any, unless it's just college football chaos and some type of upset, there's nothing that shows any reason for me to predict anything different.
Yeah,
Penn State ain't even going to be close in this game, man. I don't think there's going to be a point to we're going to be thinking that they might win.
right.
That being said, I 100% hope for an upset alert. I would want nothing more to have upset alert with Ohio State being plastered right on the front of it next week. Hope that happens. I hope it happens every single week that they play, but they're going to win this game easily. So I'll give you something, Ohio State fans, at least. That's some kind of positive. You're going to win this game easy, is my prediction.
Yeah,
So,
no doubt. Yeah, I mean, ESPN's got Ohio State with an 88% chance of winning this game. I mean, you've got, as far as conference records go, you've got a 0-4 Penn State team going up against a 4-0 Ohio State team.
yeah,
I
it's,
mean, but like you said, man, and I'm like this though. I'm like this. I don't know what you call it, but this is just the way I start thinking about things. What if? I mean, how crazy would it be? It's not out of the realm of possibilities. I mean, we've sat here and gave every reason why it kind of is. But
yeah,
dude, with college football the way it is, especially this season, I said in the
yeah,
last episode that 2025 has been the most crazy, chaotic season that I can remember ever watching.
yeah,
So if there is any type of possibility for something like this to happen and Penn State beat Ohio State, this would be the year for it to happen. I mean, just because of everything else that's happened.
yeah,
Um, but that's just me talking crazy because there's no chance.
yeah.
I don't
It's
think
just,
there's a chance.
I don't either, man. I, I, I will gladly be taking the shocking upset. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think we both can agree on this one. It's just to predict it would be you're just really going out on a limb. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
not that
you're
it's
just
impossible. But if you're truly predicting who you think is going to win this game, do you really think Penn State's going to
right.
win this game? And
I
that's
think
that's my
Yeah,
thing.
I think if you pick Ohio or if you pick Penn State to win this game, the only thing you're doing is hoping that you can come back after Saturday and say, "I told you, I told you." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No other logical reason to do so. It's just
Right.
just out of
That's the only
hope.
reason I
Yeah,
would pick them personally.
yeah, yeah. I
All
understand.
right. So yeah, there you go. There you go, Ohio State fans. Mike is giving you a little bit of credit, but somehow he trashed you at the same time. It's kind of funny.
I said I hope they lose every game. I don't see how that's that bad. Just
Uh,
wish them absolutely no luck whatsoever.
right.
You know,
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
they ain't needed it so far. So
No. Nah, I don't think they're going to need much luck at all.
I don't need it.
Moving on to a game that I'm going to go ahead and say could end up being a little bit closer than anyone imagines. The spread on this one's 7.5 swinging in Georgia's favor. Florida's been a hard team to gauge this year. I mean, I don't think their record really indicates what their potential is.
Yeah,
Um, they've got a really good defense who's shown up in clutch moments at certain points this season. Their offenses looked like crap, but then they turned around and beat Texas, and it's just been a confusing season for Florida. They fired Billy Napier. What does a team look like with the interim coach? I mean, who knows? All that's subjective. But you've got number 5 Georgia. I think it's a border rivalry game or something like that, right? Georgia versus Florida, man. 7.5 point swing for Georgia, man. How you feel about this one?
I agree about the closeness of this game, maybe more so than what people expect. There are that team that can just ruin your day. They because they have potential, but they've just not been living up to it. But when they do live up to it, um, they're very tough. And the thing is, with that being a rivalry game too, that kind of adds a little fuel to the fire on it. For Georgia, it's one of those games as if I was as a Georgia fan, you can't be happy with. Or not be happy with. You have to hate this game because if you beat Florida, that's what you're supposed to do. This team has a bad record. It's not a quality win technically,
Right.
right? When it's looking into playoff type stuff and things like that, they're not going to view it as like a quality win because Florida's not a team with a good record. They're a team that's played really bad at times, but they're such a scary team that could show up and be just such a, you know, a pain in your ass, dude. I mean, that's just how it is. And if they beat you and it looks terrible because
Yeah.
you're number 5 in the nation. So if you lose this game, you've already lost to Bama this year. That's a bad loss, and you definitely can't afford any more at that point.
Right.
So it's a very frustrating game, I think, to have on your schedule. Tennessee's going to have to deal with it at some point too. And I do think it's going to be a close one. I don't think though Florida has the talent wise that Georgia's got right now though to get it done. So my prediction's still going to be Georgia in a closer than what we think game. Overall what it's predicted, but I think Georgia gets this one done still. Even with the there is a if I was going to throw an upset potential though, that would be the game. If that makes sense. I'm going to predict Georgia, but if there was a game that I could say could be on the upset alert list of any of the games this week, that would be one that I would be. I think there's a much greater chance Florida beats Georgia than Penn State beating Ohio State, for instance. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like I think this is the biggest upset potential game. Yeah, game for Georgia, really.
100%, man. 100%. I think Georgia's kind of lucky that they're only sitting at one loss going
Yeah,
into this one because I mean if Florida did sneak out a an upset and let's say Georgia did take the loss to Tennessee because that was probably the closest they've come to a defeat other than actually getting beat.
yeah,
Um, I mean, this would be an elimination game if things were going a little different than Georgia.
yeah,
Georgia's looked a little. I think Georgia's looked a little pedestrian this year. I mean, they're definitely not the Georgia of old,
yeah,
but they have found ways to win tight games. I'll give them that. They're a good team. But you're right, man. This just kind of has the recipe and the makings of a huge upset. It's just that chippiness of Florida's defense and them really playing for nothing. They're playing for nothing at this point. They have
yeah,
nothing to lose.
yeah. I
Florida,
think you would
Georgia,
rather them be like 20 in the nation at this point, other than
right,
unranked and like how they
right,
are. You know what I mean? If that makes
right.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, Florida has nothing to lose. Georgia has borderline everything to lose. I mean, even if
Mm,
they take a loss, they could still make a run for the playoffs. I'm just going to say, for the sake of sounding good,
yeah,
Florida has Florida has nothing to lose. Georgia has everything to lose. It's just it could be one of those games. Who knows? But part of
yeah,
me just kind of I don't feel the same way I felt about the Texas game, and I predicted Florida to beat Texas, and that ended up becoming true. I just don't think with everything that's transpired since that win for
yeah,
Florida does anything positive for them in this particular game. I mean, since Florida beat Texas, they fired their coach. I
yeah,
mean, anytime a team fires their coach mid-season, I mean, I feel like the season's shot. It's over. It's in shambles.
yeah,
If you take a look at UCLA, though, and what they kind of accomplished after firing their coach, it kind of gives you that what if factor, and it kind of
yeah,
weighs on you. But as far as in this one, I mean, I think Gunnar Stockton is finally coming around and playing really high level football. He's only got one interception all season.
yeah,
DJ Lagway's thrown 9 interceptions this season. Um, and Georgia's defense is what they are. I do think Georgia wins this one for sure. But I mean, a 7.5 point favorite. I, Part of me feels like it might be a little closer than that. I don't. I'm not going to go that far into my prediction, but I'm taking Georgia outright in this one.
yeah. So I think we're the same on everything except Utah and Cincinnati. It looks like this week, man. That's all right. We usually are pretty close though. That's why I like when we have a difference. So
Yeah,
nice.
man. I'm looking forward to watching that game. It's at 3:30. Have
Yep,
plenty of time to watch it. That'll be good.
absolutely.
Gotta stagger my games this weekend, man. I didn't do a good job staggering my games last weekend.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
hear you, man.
but with that being said, man, that kind of wraps up our notable games for the week. Of course, you all know that every Friday episode, Mike and I dive into the only rankings that matter on YouTube, and that is the fourth and whatever SEC top five rankings. Mike, he'll give his, I'll give mine in case you haven't watched the Friday episode yet. But Mike, since you missed the last episode because you were working, man, go ahead and start us off with this one, brother.
Yeah, man. And as you know, we do these week to week, so they can change weekly.
Uh-huh.
We do factor in how the season's going, but they can
Right.
definitely change. And I say that because mine don't really have much difference except for one thing. I went ahead and put Texas A&M at number one this week. I think
Nice.
that the way they beat LSU, they're undefeated. I'm just gonna have to give them that slight edge, going into the
Yep.
number one spot. Dropped Bama to number two. They're still right there. The reason I did that too is the way Bama looked against South Carolina and how Texas A&M went against LSU, and then, like I said, undefeated. So one Texas A&M, two Bama, three Georgia, four Vanderbilt, and at number five I got Ole Miss. Everything
Nice.
else is the same as what I had last time,
Yep.
except for switching that A&M and Bama.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'll be honest with you. I'm not even going to waste my breath reading mine out. Mine's the exact same. I have all five teams placed in the exact same order, and that was my list last week as well. I will just speak on it real quick. Texas A&M, to me, they just look like probably the best team in the SEC, no question. Not just because they're undefeated, but
Yeah,
the way that they bounced back after halftime in that LSU game. I mean, because they were down at halftime, and I mentioned that in the last episode. They were down at halftime, and that had everything was in motion for LSU. They were
yeah,
at home at night, up at halftime, and they came out and just absolutely they fumbled. I mean, literally and figuratively, they fumbled the ball, man. They just dropped the
yeah,
ball. They dropped the game. And Texas A&M just absolutely obliterated them in that second half.
yeah.
And that, I think, on the road at night in a hostile environment against a team like that, I think that just speaks volumes to who you are as a team. So I'll go as far as to say is Texas A&M could be even what are they nationally ranked? Third?
Third.
I have no problem with putting them at one, two, or three. I mean, I do
Yep.
think that they're that good. And then the rest of the list speaks for itself, just like Mike said. The SEC has kind of shown us, okay, these are the best five teams. You can put them in whatever order you want. I think minus A&M, I think A&M definitely deserves that top spot.
Yeah, I think, and when we say the SEC, we're talking about in the conference, like, those five teams have shown in conference SEC,
Yeah,
the,
right,
the
right.
best SEC teams, and I agree with you, man. I think they've just separated themselves right now from the pack a little bit.
They have.
Um, and I still got Tennessee creeping out there on the outside of it, but I just need to see some more. I think that's how me and you both feel on
Yeah.
that
Well,
going
Tennessee has a
forward.
huge opportunity this weekend to make their case to get back in
Yeah,
our top five. I mean, with the
yeah,
win over Oklahoma, I mean, you've got some of these other teams playing SEC teams. Obviously, we're in conference play, so this whole thing could just be switched
yeah,
up completely next week.
absolutely. Switches
And
week to
that's
week, man.
That's the beauty of how we do our rankings. I don't know how everybody else does theirs. But we wanted to kind of get back to our roots a little bit in this episode. We have kind of strayed away from the whatever aspect of our podcast, and that's just because we've been engulfed completely in the season of college football.
Oh,
And sometimes we let these episodes get away from us, and we look up and we see how long we've been recording, etc. Which at this moment in time we have been recording a little bit longer than usual, but we're going to squeeze this in because it's only fitting. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween, Mike.
happy
Um,
Halloween, dude.
a lot of people consider this their favorite time of the year, their favorite holiday, so on and so forth. I wouldn't go as far as to say as it's my favorite holiday per se, but it is definitely my favorite time of the year. I love the weather. I love the leaves. I love the crisp, cool air, all that good stuff. But with this time of year, obviously, There's trick or treating. There's people dressing up. You turn on the TV and there's marathons of Halloween movies on and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And we thought it was fitting. And Mike is actually the one that brought this up. Is why don't we just talk a little bit about Halloween? Maybe throw in some of our favorite movies, favorite costumes, maybe even costumes that you've worn, whatever. Go ahead, man. Just let it fly on this.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, it's not really. I'm the same as you. I love this time of the year. Not exactly my favorite season. I'm more of a Thanksgiving and Christmas guy myself, you know.
Yep.
But it is. It is. There's a lot of fun things going on. And I think it's fitting for this time of the year. Um, I'll start with like one of my favorite costumes I ever wore, dude. Was I dressed up as Jack Sparrow for a Halloween thing we had one year, man.
Oh,
The
dude.
whole thing, the eyeliner and all, dude, had the whole 9 yards going on with it. And I usually will dress up as something, you know, if I have it the last couple of years just due to time and things, but if I go to anything that's like that, I usually dress up as something. But that was one year in particular. I feel like I kind of went all out with it and had the whole thing. I even had like this. It was this and it was actual. It wasn't spiced rum. It was like actual like Caribbean rum bottle that I had that just kind of went along with it. So it was pretty cool.
That's
But
awesome, dude.
that was, I'll start with there. That was my favorite costume I think that I've worn. I don't know if you got one. Do you have, or do you have just something else you want to talk about it with?
Well, as far as so as a child, of course, I dressed up as many different things, but what sticks out in my mind the most is just kind of like what I've done since in adulthood, I guess you could
Oh yeah,
say. So, I
yeah,
mean, it's just most recent memory, of course. A couple of years ago, dude, I went kind of all out and I bought probably a little bit too expensive of a Darth Vader helmet. Now we're not talking about the little nylon strap on the back, and I'm talking three piece. It's three piece. You have to connect it and there's a button on the side that does the breathing and everything. And then I got on Amazon and I think I ordered like his outfit. Now the outfit probably didn't measure up to the helmet as far as like
yeah,
level of detail and quality, but that was something of mine that was one of my favorites, and I dressed up like that probably 2 or 3 years ago.
yeah.
When I first met my wife, now this is taking it back to 2018, and this was kind of a funny one. Dude, I dressed up where my wife and I went to a Halloween party, and this is when we first got together, around the time we first got together. Dude, I dressed up as Hugh Hefner. I had the robe,
Yeah,
I had a tobacco pipe and everything, dude. I had the sailor's hat on, bro. That was a pretty funny
that's
one.
cool.
Something that I've always wanted to dress up as, and it's just classic. And I think I may have, but it was probably maybe back in high school or something. But I would like to do this as an adult. As classic as it is, you see so many people do it. It is what it is, but it never gets old. I would love to dress up like Michael Myers. I'm talking about
Oh, it's
get
a
like a
classic.
yeah, of course, but I would want to get like a
Yeah,
legit because you see some suspect Michael Myers masks out there. They
yeah,
don't really be looking like Mike that much.
yeah,
But I would want to find a really good one. Yeah,
yeah,
dude. That to me, that's like goat level, even though you see it a lot and it's very common and
yeah.
popular. To me, that's like goat
That's
level costume for me.
Yeah, dude. No, I agree. My brother actually a couple of years ago, me and my wife had a little Halloween party at her house, and me and her actually was from Phantom of the Opera. That's her thing, and
Oh, that's
but it
cool.
turned out cool though, man. The whole outfit, everything she had in me, it was cool. But my little brother came dressed as Michael Myers, dude, and he had a legit mask, and
Oh
he had
yeah, dude.
the whole get up, and it was pretty sweet. So that's when you
Yeah.
said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely cool. And it is funny thinking about some of the costumes you've had as an adult too. So I've had one year I was Joe Dirt, and that was interesting. I had the mullet and everything. I just really kind of looked like a redneck with a cutoff more than anything, but it worked out. Um, but yeah, man, just the differences in your costume. Because but now when I was little, I did have some Power Rangers costumes that went hard when I was a kid, though, dude. I
Oh
was a
yeah, dude.
big Power Rangers fan, so definitely can't forget those, man.
Yeah, yeah, dude. As a kid once, I think I dressed up as Santa Claus once.
Really?
People were kind of shook by that, and
Yeah,
it wasn't like a
yeah,
Halloweenified Santa Claus. It was
yeah.
just
Just
legit
like
straight Santa Claus.
straight Santa. That's hilarious,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I mean, you would never expect it,
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah,
Um,
and I will say that was one of the most fun though, man. I mean, being a kid, just dressing up and And it was just such a fun thing to do. I know there's, how it is with Halloween. There's always controversy on it and everything too, but
Mm,
just with this time of the year. But I think it's just, man, it's just something fun to do, and
yep.
definitely, it's just you got to talk about costumes. But if you're gonna be talking about Halloween, everybody, I don't know if you're the same. Me and my wife usually get our scary movies out of the way during that time. Because pretty much as soon as Halloween's over and we take one step into November, my wife jumps straight to Christmas. I don't know. I know a lot of people do that, but she's ready to roll right into it. So, but scary movies, man. Any movies that come to mind when it comes to Halloween for you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for the classic slasher films. I mean, I go crazy on, of course, all the Halloween movies with Michael Myers. I mean, all of them, even the bad ones, I watch and
Yeah,
enjoy.
yeah.
I'm a sucker for those. Of course, the Friday the 13th and all that.
Oh yeah.
Um, I mean, these are just classics. I mean,
Oh
it
geez,
may
man.
it may be the most obvious answers, but it just is what it is. I mean, now something that has caught my eye recently, and it's a little bit newer age, and I think that they're going to submit themselves as just they're going to go down as those types of classics, and it's the I don't know if you've seen them or not. There's three of them out now. It's the Terrifier movies, Terrifier 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if you've heard of those.
I haven't
They
seen those.
I think that those will end up kind of going down as like classics.
Classics.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll have to
that,
check that out. Because we
yeah,
we know I've watched some movies that were like three parts that like last year maybe, and it was like they were at a camp and it was kind of that slasher style. I'd have to look
mhm,
at the name on that.
yeah.
I know we're doing our podcast now, but I can't think of it. But they kind of give me that vibe of how that's classic slasher type movie, camp, being at a camp, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff,
I,
that just rolls in.
those movies can be a little corny for some
Yeah,
people, and I get it. I
yeah.
100% get it. But to me, they'll never die, man.
Yeah.
They're so
It's just
good.
like the nostalgia of them. I'm not scared. Like none of them like they
Right,
just are
right.
like scaring me if that makes sense. Now, do you have if you had to pick a movie, do you have a movie in mind that you would say be your scariest all-time movie that you've ever seen?
Man,
And if you don't,
I
that's fine too. I mean, some people,
well,
yeah,
I think movies that really kind of like freak me out or just anything that deals with like exorcisms.
yeah, same
I
dude,
mean,
same.
those, I mean, because there's part of those that could be a little real, could be a
Yeah,
little, they've got some
yeah,
history to them. Those,
yeah,
those freak,
yeah.
those
I
freak
feel
me
you.
out, man. I get a little disturbed on those,
Yeah.
and then maybe some of the like
I
paranormal
don't
stuff.
enjoy those. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
No, no,
yeah,
they're almost too
yeah,
much for me,
yeah.
to be honest with you.
So I guess I
Uh,
would call that the scariest. Like I think
yeah.
of like one in mind. I think of is just even like obviously those I've not even watched some. I'm gonna be honest. Some of the exorcism movies. The Conjuring is something up there for me on my list of just
Whew,
pretty and like
wow.
Insidious and just
Yep.
like you said, man, when we're talking about how I'm kind of talking about fun stuff. So like for me, I don't know, maybe people are probably like, oh, you guys are just wimps or something. But yeah, I don't enjoy them. Like I don't feel good after watching it. So I guess I would consider that in the scariest movies because they make you uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
yeah,
One of
so
the wildest and creepiest movies like that I've seen, but I do enjoy this one, but it is like kind of wild. It's
yeah,
the Strangers. I don't know if you remember that one or not.
yeah. I don't.
But it's wild,
I
bro.
remember
It's
seeing
crazy.
that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's some wild movies, man. And I feel like I don't know. Last couple of years, I guess we haven't watched as many as like we used to, but yeah, there's definitely some wild ones out there. I guess maybe we're just getting older and we tend to stick to more of the little classics or something. I think we watched Jeepers Creepers
Oh
last,
yeah,
you know,
classic, classic.
classic, so. But hey, get I know the classics are, and they are kind of corny. So I'm not gonna lie. I went back and watched some movies. Like I think we was watching the first Jeepers Creepers last night, and there's some pretty corny moments.
Hmm.
Sometimes too, where questionable decisions. Like we're at the age now where we're like, why are you doing this? So,
Right.
but
You start
it's still
trying to
good.
put logic to it.
Yeah. You're like, if I was in this position, and then you're like, there's no logic to this entire storyline. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think now as far as Halloween goes and stuff like that, dude, for me, just kind of going back to the whole costume thing and all that, man.
yeah,
Uh, the thing, I'm at the point now in my life where I get more satisfaction out of watching my little girl get excited and put on her
Yeah,
costume than I can ever remember getting excited for
yeah,
myself personally. That's just so
yeah,
gratifying to watch your little kid put their costume on and get excited about it.
yeah,
Go up to somebody with their bucket. Now, the
yeah.
most satisfying thing about that whole situation is when you get home,
Oh yeah,
old dad's able to go through there and pick out all the good stuff that he wants.
yeah.
So
Man,
that's what I've been doing.
I want to see. I don't have kids right now. I mean, my wife don't. I'm gonna take the nieces and nephews out, I guess, dude, because I can't just go roll out and get some candy, you know. I'm gonna show up as an adult, like knock. No, but I get what honestly, man, I can see what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, it's
When
cool,
it
man.
comes to, because like I'm kind of at the age where like dressing up's kind of I'll do it if it. Don't get me wrong. If I'm gonna do something, I'll go. If we're like, oh,
Right,
we're going to a
right.
Halloween event, like I'm gonna do it, and I'm not one of those that's like, oh, I'm not gonna ever dress up, but I just not it's not as exciting of a thing, anymore as an adult. So I could see that now, like if I had a child, like that would be what it's about at that point,
Oh yeah,
just
man.
watching them
So
have
cool.
fun and seeing their imaginations get to go, so yeah,
Yep.
for sure, dude.
Yeah, my little girl dressed up as Tow Mater from Cars this year.
Tomater. Oh, that's awesome, dude. That is awesome. And you said this year she dressed up as Tomater?
Yep.
Is that what you said? Cool. Yeah. That's sweet, dude. Yeah, I mean, I felt it was just fitting though to do this little bit of a segment, kind of talk about Halloween.
100%.
We'll probably do that, I'm sure, man. I know I can do that on like Christmas and Christmas movies, dude, because there's some
Oh yeah.
OG Christmas movies out there, man.
I've already got mine in
Yeah.
my head.
I put a list down for you right now on that. So, I don't know, but judging off how mean you are right now, I feel like we're gonna be even more like like hopped up in for Christmas time. But and I'd say that even gets more exciting, especially for you too with your daughter and
Oh
everything,
yeah.
man.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
man.
absolutely. But no, I just like we'll get into that when that comes around, but
Oh yeah, for sure.
what if you're all out there watching this, make sure to like and subscribe. So you'll get to hear some football, but you also get to hear some stuff, like this, like some random whatever things coming up, and especially getting into the holiday season. So
Uh-huh.
we'll definitely make some more special moments. Obviously, football is the main topic right now. I mean, it's every week, man. It keeps rolling in, so we got new things to talk about. But Adam, you got anything else you really want to throw out there for this one, man?
No, I think we always just try to say thank you to everyone that's
Yep.
subscribed. We are starting to creep up, getting close to 100 subscribers. I'd like to see us at 100 subscribers before the end of football season. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
But yeah, spread the word, like, share, start sharing the page if you want to. Continue to comment and watch and support the channel. We do appreciate it, and we
Absolutely.
just yeah, we just love doing this, man, regardless of who's watching.
Oh yeah, it's fun, man. And Adam, as always, dude, it's been fun, and I'll see you in the next one, man.
Yeah, man. Take care, brother.